Upfront Books presents An Experiment in Criticism, written by C.S. Lewis and narrated by Richard Elwood. 1. The Few and the Many. In this essay I propose to try an experiment. Literary criticism is traditionally employed in judging books. Any judgment it implies about men's reading of books is a corollary from its judgment on the books themselves. Bad taste is, as it were by definition, a taste for bad books. I want to find out what sort of picture we shall get by reversing the process. Let us make our distinction between readers or types of reading the basis, and our distinction between books the corollary. Let us try to discover how far it might be plausible to define a good book as a book which is read in one way, and a bad book as a book which is read in another. I think this worth trying, because the normal procedure seems to me to involve almost continually a false implication. If we say that A likes or has a taste for the women's magazines and B likes or has a taste for Dante, this sounds as if likes and taste have the same meaning when applied to both, as if there were a single activity, though the objects to which it is directed are different. But observation convinces me that this, at least usually, is untrue. Already in our school days, some of us were making our first responses to good literature. Others, and these the majority, were reading at school The Captain and at home short-lived novels from the circulating library. But it was apparent then that the majority did not like their fare in the way we liked ours. It is apparent still. The differences leap to the eye. In the first place, the majority never read anything twice. The sure mark of an unliterary man is that he considers "I've read it already" to be a conclusive argument against reading a work. We have all known women who remembered a novel so dimly that they had to stand for half an hour in the library skimming through it before they were certain they had once read it. But the moment they became certain, they rejected it immediately. It was for them dead, like a burnt-out match, an old railway ticket, or yesterday's paper. They had already used it. Those who read great works, on the other hand, will read the same work 10, 20, or 30 times during the course of their life. Secondly, the majority, though they are sometimes frequent readers, do not set much store by reading. They turn to it as a last resource. They abandon it with alacrity as soon as any alternative pastime turns up. It is kept for railway journeys, illnesses, odd moments of enforced solitude, or for the process called reading oneself to sleep. They sometimes combine it with desultory conversation, often with listening to the radio. But literary people are always looking for leisure and silence in which to read, and do so with their whole attention. When they are denied such attentive and undisturbed reading even for a few days, they feel impoverished. Thirdly, the first reading of some literary work is often, to the literary, an experience so momentous that only experiences of love, religion, or bereavement can furnish a standard of comparison. Their whole consciousness is changed. They have become what they were not before. But there is no sign of anything like this among the other sort of readers. When they have finished the story or the novel, nothing much, or nothing at all, seems to have happened to them. Finally, and as a natural result of their different behaviour in reading, what they have read is constantly and prominently present to the mind of the few, but not to that of the many. The former mouth over their favourite lines and stanzas in solitude. Scenes and characters from books provide them with a sort of iconography by which they interpret or sum up their own experience. They talk to one another about books, often and at length. The latter seldom think or talk of their reading. It is pretty clear that the majority, if they spoke without passion and were fully articulate, would not accuse us of liking the wrong books, but of making such a fuss about any books at all. We treat as a main ingredient in our well-being something which to them is marginal. Hence to say simply that they like one thing and we another is to leave out nearly the whole of the facts. If like is the correct word for what they do to books, some other word must be found for what we do. Or conversely, if we like our kind of book, we must not say that they like any book. If the few have good taste, then we may have to say that no such thing as bad taste exists, for the inclination which the many have to their sort of reading is not the same thing, and if the word were used
Sample complete. Ready to continue?